Are you guys out there like me? Well, I don't mean like me. I mean, I know you guys can't be like me. You're what I call norms, but that's okay. We can't all be ruggedly handsome and youthful, self proclaimed internet gun experts like myself. What I mean is, have you ever had this similar experience to what I had recently? Have you ever taken an old book off the shelf that was one of your favorites when you were young and you haven't read it since maybe you were in high school, maybe even junior high school, and you decide to read it again? Then you discover that there's so much to this book that you missed when you read it as a child. You just didn't get a lot of it. There were so many nuances that didn't ring true with you that ring true with you now that you're older and more mature. You realize the book was far better than you ever even thought it was, even though it was always one of your favorites. Or maybe you hear a song that comes on the radio that was popular when you were like 12 or 13 years old. And you didn't care for it. Maybe it was sappy. Maybe it's a love song or something like that. And it just didn't hit your ear right. But now that your ear's a little more seasoned, your heart's a little more experienced, you say, wow, that's such an amazing song. Why didn't I see that originally? Why did I not like this song when I was younger? Because it has so much to it. It's one of the best songs I've ever heard. As we get older, we mature, our tastes change a little bit, they get a little more refined. So sometimes we like things we didn't like before, and sometimes we realize things that we thought were great before are actually better than we ever imagined. It's always a welcome change when that happens, because usually you look at things from when you were younger and they don't exactly hold up like you thought. Like recently, I was telling my kids, all your anime and your shows you watch, they absolutely suck. I'm going to show you some good TV shows for kids. And then after about an hour or two of watching some Land of the Lost and some H.R. Puffin stuff, I kind of realized that those were not the eternal classics that I thought they were. They were a little different than the way I remembered them, let's just say that. So it's actually a really great thing when something from when you were younger actually turns out better than you remember it. And I had that happen to me recently, but not with a book or a song or a movie or anything like that. It was with a gun. I was at the range shooting my Desert Eagle lightweight L5 357 Magnum, and an older gentleman in the lane next to me looked over and saw it and said, I've heard of those, but I've never seen one in person and I've definitely never shot one. Well, I said, well, here's one now. Would you like to take an opportunity to shoot it? And he said, yeah, sure, I would love to. So I let him shoot it for a little while. And while he was shooting my gun, he insisted that I shoot his. And at first I said, no, that's okay. I don't really need to shoot one. I've shot it before. I've owned one of those guns before. And he said, no, I insist. So I was like, well, I haven't shot one of the new models, so I'll go ahead and shoot it a little bit. And after 20 or 30 rounds through it, I didn't want to give it back. I thought to myself, how did I ever not appreciate how good a gun this is? And if I did appreciate it, how did I ever forget how awesome of a gun it is? Maybe I just wasn't mature enough to appreciate it. I believe I owned one back in my early 20s, but I didn't remember it being like this. This gun was so accurate. It was so easy to use. It pointed so naturally. I'm just like, wow, how did I forget about this gun? How did I go so long with not having one? And I know it's not the gun. The gun is pretty much the same as it's always been. There's a few minor differences, so the real change must be me. And something? I think that's pretty common. I think a lot of us, as we get older, we mature more, we become more experienced, we start to appreciate things in a way we never appreciated them before. So at this point, you might be asking yourself, what gun is it? Well, for that information, you're just going to have to wait. I had you going there for a minute. You thought I was actually going to string you along, get you all worked up, go through all that spiel, and then not tell you what it was. I mean, what kind of jackass do you people think I am? How long have you been watching me? You should know by now that that's exactly the type of jackass I am. All right. I'll give you one hint. Now, I should have this gun to show to you either tomorrow or the next day, but until then, I'll give you one hint and see who can guess what it is. The one hint's going to be, every time I see this gun, I have a craving for waffles.